Okay, so you want to duck the bass in Logic, but you're unsure how to do it. In this video, we're going to break down a few different scenarios and a few ways we can do it and why you would do it in those different ways to achieve a different result. Let's check it out. And a big thanks to the channel sponsor, Distrokid. Distrokid is a music distribution service and the best way to get your music out to all of the modern streaming services fast, efficiently, and within an independent artist's budget. Check out the description below for a discount today. All right, scenario one, we've got, say, something like a drum loop, and we've got a bass line. And the kick and the bass line are fighting together. Everything in the drum loop, we only want the kick to be the thing that affects that bass line. But it's actually super simple to do. I'm just gonna rename this beat so we can see it nice and easily. On the bass itself, we open up the compressor that's built into Logic. We can do it by just clicking on the bar here. By default, loads up the compressor for us. Any of the emulations across the top here will take a sidechain, which is really, really useful. If you want it to be nice and clean, I recommend the Digital Platinum. If you want it to have a little bit of dirt and feel kind of analog, the Studio FET works really nicely for that. We'll just leave it on digital for the time being. So what we need to do is go into sidechain up here in the top right hand, and we're going to go to audio, and we're going to choose the thing that we just renamed. Now the problem is, when we look at the waveform here for the beat, the snares are just as loud as the kick drum, so they are going to trigger it as well. We'll be able to see that. So that's going to be ducking our bass all the time, not what we want. Causes some really odd pumping. So the way that we can adjust that is really simple. Inside the compressor, we can click on the sidechain option up here. And what we can do is put it on a filter mode, and we'll just put listen on for the time being. This means now, even if we have just the bass soloed, we're going to be able to hear what's coming through. That's the drums. We're going to leave it on the mode of low pass, and we're going to bring it right the way down to sort of the 100 hertz range. Now, only the kick drum should be triggering our compressor, fingers crossed. There we go. So we've got a much better riding option. And that's now going to help us duck the bass. From there, we want to dial in our attack and release so it stays nice and smooth. I'll maybe go a little bit longer on the attack for this particular track. And there you go, the bass will now only duck when the kick's coming in. We just need to put the filter section to on rather than listen, and then some other scenarios that we can make use of in this. For example, let's say we want the snare to be the thing that triggers it, or something else in that range, but we don't want the hi-hats or kick drum to do it. Well, that's where we're going to use something like the Bandpass mode, for example. So let's just put that into solo. What we can just do is just change this to Bandpass, and you know, the snare's going to hit probably somewhere in the 200 to 300 hertz range. Let's do that. So it's still catching a bit of the kick, but you can see it's mainly dipping out on the snare now. That's where the majority is coming in, and we could just dial it in here. So we can see it's now taking the snare out by nearly a dB more than it is the kick. We could go into high pass as well, do it that way. And now we can hear it's letting a lot more through, but because the hi-hats are a lot lower level, we could dial in our threshold just to catch the snare. So we could go to a really high ratio, threshold all the way at 0, and just dial it back till it starts catching the right spot. So at the moment it's doing nothing. And now it's catching a bit of the kick as well, so we can bring the frequency up a bit more. Now we can see it's just the snare that's affecting it now. If you want it to dip a little bit further, we simply pump the ratio up. Let's have a look at another situation. Okay, so in this scenario, we've got a 4 on the floor and a bass line. Let's say we always want that 4 on the floor kick drum to be affecting our bass line, even when the drum's not there. So at the moment, we're like this. here's the thing a lot of people don't know. You can have a ghost kick or a ghost sidechain. So let's just very quickly duplicate our drum. And what we'll do is we're going to just take to here and we are just going to copy out one drum sample like so. And we're going to make this the sidechain. So this is going to be beat 2. Now at the moment, we're going to be able to hear it. If we mute this channel, however, it still triggers. This way, we can control the pumping with the samples we've got in here. So we could have every other one, for example, be a little bit shorter. We could start making it a bit more rhythmic. And it will also always occur regardless of the scenario. We can see this kind of strange pattern will affect the compressor. And in turn, you can hear it dip in the bass. If we turn auto gain off, let's really exaggerate it. So it's still affecting the sound even when the beat's not in. So if we were to then copy over our rhythm, it will still duck it out the way of the kick when the beat comes in. We're just controlling the rhythm completely separately. Those guys are the main two scenarios you're going to face when you want to duck the bass or use sidechain inside Logic. I hope that's helpful for you and give you an idea of how you can use this tool to get a better result in your mix. Thank you very much for watching, guys, and I look forward to seeing you on the next video.